My name is Anna, and I'm an AI avatar by Synthesia. I'm here at the CLIP conference to introduce your next speaker, Jay. Here, he is talking about Navic and the topic at hand, AI Captain. Cheers.
Goal was very simple. We wanted to make sure that whatever education that people have about the marketing industry, whether it's advertising, public relations, direct marketing, it's always going to be in a specific format. The Indian education industry is always going to teach you how exactly things need to be done. So I thought that I want to contribute to that. And because I've been the agency side for about 10 years now, I thought that I could create my own curriculum. And with partners like Hemant, who's actually given me this opportunity to talk to you today, it's been an absolute pleasure creating, testing, and spreading what little knowledge I have about the future of communications and how marketing is going to evolve in India and abroad. Today's subject is very interesting to me because AI in communications was always something that it's not just that I'm passionate about it, it's one of those things that I realized is inevitable. So, firstly, let me thank all the people at the World Communications, all the people from Clip, Candy, Jaffrey, definitely Hemant. Always been a guide. Thank you, Hemant. I think one of the things that we need to be clear about is what exactly is AI. So, just to very basically sort of define what artificial intelligence is, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are essentially programmed to think like humans and try to mimic their actions. The term can also be applied to any machine or any sort of protocol that exhibits traits associated with a human mind, such as learning or problem solving. As an entity, AI is always going to have various use cases. It's not going to be a whole and soul solution for anything that you do. It's one of those things that you align with based on what you require. Now, this is the slightly more complicated explanation of what AI is. So, an easier way to sort of talk about AI would be, simply put, modern AI, especially when we use it from the point of view of whether it's communications or any kind of supplementary recommendations that any kind of app or software gives us, simply put, modern AI is any digital system that can make decisions or quote unquote think based on a very specific set of rules. One of the things that I wanted to do was from a point of view of using AI to actually make work better. And one of the dares that I got, actually, one of the way I started with my journey in AI was on a dare. My girlfriend, Shreya, she actually dared me that you can never become an influencer. And I'm somebody who's not on social media a lot. I personally, as a as a as a choice, do not like my life to publicize. But at the same time, she told me that you can never become an influencer. And that QR code that you see is an Instagram page I started last year about a spoon, a spoon that writes poetry about food. And the engine I found, the AI engine I found, was this Google tool by the Google Research Lab called Verse by Verse. It writes AI poetry. It essentially congregates some of the best poets of the 18th and 19th century, and line by line it gives you recommendations on what they would have referred to or what they would have uh, written as the next line for the piece of poetry that you're writing. Whilst that happens, there is also a significant clarity that I received, that AI is not just going to help you in being creative, it's also going to align with an overall understanding of how human beings are going to interact with machines over time. And I think that particular understanding changed the way that I looked at AI. I looked at it as something that can help me do everything in communications, whether it's writing, content support, filmmaking. As a matter of fact, some of the script that I wrote for this film was written by a bot. Over the next two films that you see, the first one is going to be um, a short film that I really love. It's from the 2017-2018 era. It's a short film that was entirely the script was entirely written by a bot. And the second film that you'll see is one of the most interesting social experiments that I've seen run by a American publication. And with that, I'll be back in exactly 8 minutes or about 7 minutes. So see you soon.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and this is Calamity AI. The short you're about to see has been written by artificial intelligence. I wrote the first few lines of the script and fed it into the program. When you see a dot appear on your screen, it means that the script is now being written by the AI. We present to you, solicitors.
I'm a Jehovah's Witness.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't talk to solicitors.
But I have a great story. I was a drug dealer. Shootouts. In retrospect, it was a very dangerous job, but I loved it. And then I hit this cop car, and they chased me. I was weaving through the city, but they were so fast. And then I saw a road that led to this alley, and I figured, since I had some time, I could lose them. So I swerved. There were two women in the alley. They were arguing. I was going too fast. They didn't see me. I hit them. And the car turned over and over and over. That's the worst pain I've ever had. But they lived. I didn't. Before I died, God appeared to me and told me that if I would come here and tell you this, then he would bring me back to life. I was instructed to tell you the whole story.
What's your name?
Rudy,
Do you believe in God?
I did once.
Do you want to come in?
I don't want to die.
Well, come in anyway. It's about time for us to do dinner.
That's the worst story I've ever heard. I'm really gonna die. What? What are you doing?
Don't you remember where you met me? And I'm a drug dealer. And shootouts? Shootouts are fun.
Thank you, all of you. They are donating to the problem. I don't want to do it. I don't know what they don't know, what they don't know. That the assumption that we don't know, that the best members of the prison, and there's supposed to be a lot of them, to be a little bit because I don't want it. I don't want to be a little bit this country. I mean, it was a nice person. We want to put the White House. I mean, when you get the hell, the bad guys is not going to be asking, do it for the world. We've got to the firewall. That's what they do. I mean, we have to do it for the country. I want to renegotiate NAFTA. And they say they are tired of the speech is a very international debate. And they were supposed to have such great buildings. They are going to let them something that we don't know the pressure that we will start winning again. I will uphold out every single conservative for the friends of the labeling radical Islamic terrorism. When I see the money of the country that are tough and probably going to start a problem. It's not such a great state. And all of the places and the whole tax people, and we have no choice. It's a strength. You want to do the Raz's obligation with the special interest for discuss and the promate that re-reach the top people getting the smart immigrations, we will be in the time. I will say and change anything. I would have never had a victory. And we will build brutal energy cut into a much better home. It's a movement toward the beautiful legal scams and better share. And it was a jiggly deal, and I don't think they're never worth in the middle deal to be parted to Mexico. It's Tawali. I have a toupee. You don't even get 1.6 trillion dilation and millions of dollars. I mean, I end illegal immigrants. They're scared, I promise. In the prison way, our energy revolution plan for my friendly and deportant. And you're not going to be disqualified. We've said that. I surprised it. She doesn't take to you, guy. Believe me. Now, holla. But I hear for I'm a king of terror that 20 years, but let prevent these vast learned people precrucity puri of the Bassett that Obama. I prick Wally through. It's last year, it should arguing the turnish. I am proposing remissation corruption. I am going to work with us. Every year, that Prep Agony has dive in a big lie. Thank you. Thank all of you.
Cool, right? Now Jay recommends 3 of his favorite AI tools that you can use for communications today. Once again, here is Jay.
Hi again. Uh, I hope the 2 films that you saw gave you some perspective on how AI has not just become a part of, but has become almost integral for people who like to experiment with media. Whether it was the short called Solicitors by Calamity AI or the film by the New Yorker, the social experiment by the New Yorker, I think one of the things that has happened with AI, specifically in the communications industry, is that there has been massive democratization of the technology, whether it is writing, whether it is Mr. Elon Musk's AI project called OpenAI or Google's DeepMind, these in some way or the other they play a role in communication. And the ease of use of artificial intelligence over the past, I believe, 4 or 5 years has become shockingly available. It's very, very easy to find an AI engine that can help you do something from a communication point of view. And one of the things that I recently watched a Netflix show called Sisyphus. It's called The Myth in Korea. It's one of the more interesting shows that gets recommended by the Netflix AI when you watch Squid Game. Um, the quote says that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. And I think with AI, it's partially true because although it's available, I think the level of curiosity for communicators uh, specific to the AI function is a bit low. However, what I'd like to do is to give you a little perspective on how communicators can use AI. And just to start off, because what happens is that, like it was for me, like I used verse by verse, and that was my first sort of experience with a very basic format of how AI can work. I think I'd like to give you a little bit of curiosity of that same kind. So the first part is obviously writing, as the core function of anything in communication. Whenever we create a piece of content, whether whatever medium it be on, whether video, audio, text, gifs, memes, it's always going to be starting from writing. And a couple of things that you can do, specifically from long format writing. I think there are so many tools available today. There are three that I'd like to mention. One, obviously, the one I already mentioned, AI Writer. There are many like AI writers that are available. There is the Writer, which is spelled RYTR. There is Copymatic.ai. And these three tools, although they kind of do the same thing, but they do make your job much easier. It's one of those things where uh, it's almost it's almost clear that in your planning process that AI is going to become a part of it. The second thing I'd like to sort of touch upon, from how AI can be used by you and me even today, is a format like this. I mean, I had never used Prezi Video before. The format that I'm shooting on, it's extremely intuitive. The inbuilt AI engine also gives me a clear recommendation on how I need to produce the film and send it to you, lovely people. But the idea was always that if AI can help you create something that is going to be much better than you would do manually, it's an advantage. The second recommendation for AI related content, or rather video production, is Anna. Anna from Synthesia. Anna is one of the avatars that Synthesia has. And Synthesia is one of those tools where if you subscribe to it in their package, I'm not promoting them, but I use them and I really like their service. But it's as simple as writing a script and you have an avatar speak it out. Imagine the amount of money you can save. Imagine the amount of time you can save in production. And I'm sure over time, all of us will figure out more video oriented tools that will help us not only shorten but sharpen our content strategy, where we can use different kinds of automation to make our creativity a little better, and perhaps not only focus on quality but also when needed focus on quantity, because AI can do similar tasks really fast, really quickly. And it's one of those things that I really rely on. And finally, I think research is going to be an extremely important tool for communicators. It has been for the past 50 years, 60 years, since the PR industry has been booming. And one of the things that I do a lot when I do research is I always find what are the kind of questions that people ask about a certain thing. So when I want to look for instance, I use a Motorola phone today. Um, if I had to find out how Motorola is being perceived in the market, I would either go to a Google Trends, or which essentially is built on aggregating search results all over the world or based on country, whichever perspective you have on that. But what is most important for me is that using tools like that, it helps in giving great clarity on what you actually want to do. One of the sort of layer 2 solutions on Google Trends that I found that I really liked was a tool called Answer the Public. It essentially gives you the insight that people don't just search results anymore. People don't just look for queries. People don't just write 2 or 3 words. People don't just write phrases. They ask questions. On any search engine, people have today created this entire sense where Google has become more like a person. It's not really a search engine, not really a bot. It's somebody who you ask questions to. And this particular tool, Answer the Public, gives you great clarity and great understanding on how people perceive something. What are the things that they compare it with? What are the elements that they like to talk about? And whatever they're looking for, how much does it extend to when it compares to society? What are the things that are connected to it gives you a great little infographic understanding of how this particular subject that you're looking for is being researched online. That's been a little more than 20 minutes, but I hope I've been able to give you some perspective about where AI's movement is going to be in the communication industry. I hope next time I see you in person. And I once again thank all the promoters of the event to give me this opportunity to present my thoughts to you. Thank you very, very much. And you can always say hi whenever you like. And I'll see you soon. Bye.